The West Ham Massive are pleased to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham fans and friends inspired by the work of other football food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for a Newham food bank in Beckton, who supplies 7 distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thanks for your support. Come on, you Irons. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to the West Ham Massive. As I always implore you to do, please don't forget to like, comment on and share this stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the bell icon and click all. You'll get all alerts on new content as and when it pops up. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. Little bit of housekeeping. If adult language should offend any of you, then you might want to sort of disappear and go and put up a shelf or something like that, because I can't lie, we might have the odd swear word that pops out. It is what it is. But we're here to discuss goings on at Villa Park tomorrow afternoon. I think it's a 4:30 kickoff. Match day 9 of 38 at Villa Park. The Battle of the Claret and Blue, bruv. We're going to be facing Aston Villa. So yeah, it should be an interesting encounter, I think.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, we've both made a good start to the season. They sit slightly above us in the table, and it's going to be a good clash. I mean, obviously that Unai Emery's come in the last year or two, and he looks like he's done a really good job. And I think they look very good at home, especially. So it's going to be an interesting encounter. But I'm fairly confident we're going to go up there and get something out of the game. Okay, so we'll start at the beginning. So your thoughts on Aston Villa? How have you seen much of Villa this season, and what have been your impressions of how they've gone so far?
Well, like I say, I think if I'm honest, mate, obviously my main focus is West Ham. I don't think I've actually seen a full game that Villa have played this season, but fundamentally, I think we've had a good start to the season, and they're above us. So that they must have had an even better start to the season. So I think I recall that they got stuffed on the first game of the season 5-1 away at Villa, Newcastle. And then but I think from memory, even going back into last season, it's their home form. They look really quite strong at home. And they're one of them teams that actually I look on paper and I don't think it looks that great side, especially like at the back. I think, they don't look, it just doesn't look like a standout team. But I think they, in terms of individuals, but they seem to play well as a team. And, will you come on in a little while in terms of who their key players are?
We'll go on to that in due course. Just a few little sort of pieces of information that sort of bring people up to speed with as far as the Villa team is concerned. They've got Nicolo Zaniolo, who looks like he's not possibly going to be involved. Obviously, he's involved in this illegal gambling allegations and whatever.
I've never heard of him. Who the bloody hell is he?
Well, there you go. Emiliano Buendia, he looks like he's out with long-term knee injury, as is Tyrone Mings. Jacob Ramsey, he's going to be out by the looks of things with an ankle injury. Not too sure on how the progress of Alex Moreno. He might be back, but he had a little bit of a setback in his recovery, so not too sure. They're going to have a few players out. As far as we're concerned, Ben, I mean, Lucas Fabianski wasn't in the squad against Newcastle. He had a knock. Obviously, Ben Johnson and Aaron Cresswell are very, very doubtful. But squad-wise, I'd say that we're in pretty good shape.
We are, mate, yeah. And I think I touched on it in one of our last podcasts, whether it's luck or something else in the background. Touch wood, you know, the injury record that we've got at the minute seems very, very good. You know, when we've done these shows, you've rattled off pretty much every team, and a bit like Villa, you know, they might not be nailed on first team starters, but they have at least 3, 4, 5 players out. Whereas for us, at the minute, none of the first team are out. You know, let's be honest, Cresswell and Ben Johnson, with the greatest respect to those guys, I like them both, but neither of them were playing in sort of the Premier League games anyway. And if I'm honest, I'm not sure they're injured. I get just this really disturbing feeling with both of those. You know, they're both players that one won't sign a new contract, and one, that's Ben Johnson, and Cresswell threw his toys out the pram. Unfortunately, when he didn't get given a move, I think we could be saying they're injured, but actually they've said, "Fuck it, I don't want to play."
Yeah, entirely possible. Entirely possible. So obviously, I know you say you haven't seen much of Villa this season, particularly, but is there any player that you think is going to be the one that we're really going to need to keep an eye on? I know who I'm thinking of straight away, and I would like to get a thought on whether you think you might be thinking along the same lines as me.
Absolutely, mate. I think it's their standout player this season is Ollie Watkins. You know, it seems like he's improved. You know, he's improved season on season, and you know, to the extent, obviously Harry Kane's the main man, but in my opinion, you know, Watkins is number 2, and Kane's not going to last forever. And when Kane, you know, is on the way down for England, I'd say Watkins should be the man going into the striker role for England. So that's how highly I think of him. I think he looks like he's got a little bit of everything. He's quite a big lad. He seems quick. He's good in the air. He's got good work rate. So yeah, he's one of them players. I'd love him in a West Ham shirt, but I think unfortunately that's probably never going to happen. And you know, he's one of them players that if he continues doing what he's doing, I think unfortunately for Villa, probably a little bit like us. You know what I mean? I'd class Villa and West Ham kind of on a similar level. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, a bigger fish is going to come in for him. So I think Watkins is without a doubt the man we need to keep a close eye on tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that if you was to have asked me my thoughts on the opposition, I think that, yeah, Ollie Watkins is going to be the one that I think we probably need to keep quiet. Probably, though, as a supporting role, I think I'd probably be looking at John McGinn. I think he's been someone that a lot of people have spoke well about, but I think that people like Ollie Watkins takes a lot of the limelight, and I think that John McGinn just goes about his business. I think that one of the key battles tomorrow for me is going to be the battle between John McGinn and Emerson. I mean, Emerson's been, I think, has been one of our star turns so far this season, but he's going to need to bring his A game, because if he doesn't, I think that McGinn could take advantage there. What are your thoughts on that particular confrontation?
Yeah. No, I like McGinn. Obviously, he's been around for a long time. I mean, look, I haven't done, I hold my hands up, Rob. I haven't done too much research into this game, but I feel like we have a bloody good record against Villa, home and away. Yeah, so I'm going into this game, regardless of the form table, regardless of the league. I've seen us go to Villa in recent years and pummel them. So and the likes of John McGinn and the likes of Ollie Watkins, they was all in the team. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, I like them. They're a decent team, but I think if we bring our assets to the table, they should be worrying about us even more than we should be worrying about them. I agree with you, Emerson. I think when Emerson first started with us, you know, I think rightly so, Cresswell was actually still keeping him out of the team. And I was thinking, because Emerson, you know, his forte is attacking. So I think sometimes he was attacking and we'd get done on the counter and he weren't quite there. But I think maybe the fact that we've got Alvarez come in, that is just happy to do that, you know, maybe when a fullback goes forward, Alvarez will drop deep and the centre halves will spread out a little bit. Then all of a sudden, Emerson is probably our main attacking threat at the moment, along with Kufal, who's got 4 assists in 4 games. So I think the modern game, you often find that it's your fullbacks that are getting more assists than your midfielders because they've got licence to bomb on. So, yeah, Emerson's been brilliant, made a great assist in the last game. So I think, you know, he's a key player for us now, you know, because of what he's doing.
Okay, let's switch it up now. So who are the players from our side of things that you think are going to be the key personnel? I mean, you've mentioned Emerson. If we sort of park him there, I think we're well established that he's going to be a key component of our strategy tomorrow. But who else do you think is going to be a key? Is there someone that is David Moyes going to spring us a selection surprise, or is he going to go with the usual suspects?
There's probably, you know, based on the fact that we are playing well, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's a good 8 or 9 players, and we've touched on this previously. There's probably 9 players that, in my opinion, are nailed on because of their performances so far this season. The only two that, in my opinion, is a bit of a debate is Gerd and Antonio. So I actually think the key player is a player that hasn't started yet in the Premier League. Is going to be Mohamed Kudus. Kudos. Because I think he's got to start. I think he's got to start. He come on. He changed the game against Newcastle. You know, at the end of the day, if he doesn't come on, we lose against Newcastle. You know, he's got that spark and ability, and he's got a bit of a wand of a left foot. I mean, I can't get enough of that goal he scored. Just the way the first touch, it was just a great. You know, it wasn't the best goal you've ever seen, but just the first touch, the way it's. I think it was intentional that he's took a touch and he's like teed it up off the ground, and then within a split second, there's an exocet sort of half volley. I just. You've got to start him. You've got to start him. And I think, you know, you've got to start him. You've got to start Bowen. You've got to start Paqueta. You've got to start Souček, because these guys they're scoring nearly every game or getting an assist. Antonio has had a few good games and a few goals recently, but in the last 2-3 games, it's dried up. And I think he's been, you know, when you've got a man like Kudus waiting in the wings, you've got to start him. And I just think, we'll come on to the lineup in a minute, but the idea of having sort of an attacking quartet of the lads I've just mentioned, that's a real threat. I mean, we've scored in every game so far this season. I don't think many teams can say that, and I'm really excited because I want to see Kudus start tomorrow.
Well, let's get into the starting 11, and this is obviously the question as I put there in capitals. It's your starting 11. What would be the 11 you would choose? But also more broadly, what do you think would be the 11 that David Moyes will actually go for?
Okay, mate. I think they're very similar. So I think no doubt Areola's in goal. He's established himself the number one. Kufal and Emerson at fullbacks position in a flat back four. Like I say, mate, these guys. I mean, Kufal's the reinvigorated Kufal from the season or two ago. Emerson's looking an absolute threat. Zuma at captain is done well. I'm going to say that I would go for Ogbonna. If he's, I'd go Ogbonna. I know Moyes likes a Gerd, but there's just been too many. There's just too many goals that there's a question mark whether he could have done better. And it seems to be every game. Every game, it's not like it's a howling mistake, but it always seems to be coming down his side of the pitch, or he's the man nearest the person. And I just think he can be a bit weak, and I think Watkins would just push him out of the way, a bit like Isak done for the goal. Yeah, you know what I mean? Isak give a Gerd especially an absolute runaround, and I'd just take him out the firing line. You could argue Mavropanos, but I just like Ogbonna. I think he's still got it. So, and then the midfield three in the middle picks itself at the moment. So that'd be Alvarez in front of the back four, Ward-Prowse and Souček. So, the lads are on, Big Tommy's back on sort of goal scoring form and looking good. And I'm really pleased. Look, he's never going to be Paul Scholes technique wise, but you can't help but love the geezer because, he's slow, he's cumbersome, but he eats potato salad. Yeah, but he eats potato salad and he nicks a goal and he works his nuts off and puts tackles in. So I'd keep him in. And then this is where the exciting part of the team for me is, I think Paqueta is really excelling in this sort of wider role out on the left. He's still cutting inside, and then that gives Emerson a bit of room to bomb down the left. It's working quite well, and Bowen out on the right, and Mr. Kudus up top. But I just think with those three, especially, you've got to see a lot of if that was the team, which I think it is highly likely, Moyes will definitely go with that. I can see him starting Kudus. I think he knows it's got to happen at some point. But I think, like against Newcastle, randomly you'd find that Paqueta might be the furthest one up top. You know what I mean? If it feels like it's not working, any one of Bowen could do some. Paqueta can move around, and with that movement, cause Villa's backline a lot of trouble. Because I look at Villa's defence. I think they're there to be got at. Like I say, they've gone to Newcastle and conceded 5. I know it was the opening game of the season, but yeah, I think they can. I think we can definitely score a good few up there tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And as you might have noticed it, I've been as intermittent points as we've been going along. I've been putting little facts of the two respective combatants, and you'll notice that one that's going across that we're unbeaten in 10 Premier League meetings against them. Our last defeat was a 1-0 away defeat in May 2015, and since then we've had 6 wins, 4 draws. So mighty impressive. So
I think, what? I actually think, as your luck, out of the only 10 games we've lost, I think I went to that game.
Typical.
Yeah.
But anyway, right, I've got a little piece put together. This is my predicted 11, and obviously the formation that I think is going to take to the pitch tomorrow against Aston Villa. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. I think the only change that I would make if I was David Moyes, and I suspect possibly the only change that he will make, is going to be up top. I think it's time now for Antonio to make way, and we've got to see this kid play some more. I mean, you said it yourself, the goal against Newcastle, one touch, and there was no fucking around. It was decisive. Bang, have that. It's in the back of the net before Nick Pope can react. He's exciting. He's direct. I think he's basically a younger version in a lot of respects of the guy that he is going to replace in Michail Antonio. Got certain little differences, maybe not quite as physical, but I think he's in terms of the direct running and the pace, just the sort of the challenges that he's going to sort of give his opposite numbers are going to be very, very similar. But I just think that he's got a little bit more hunger, a little bit more desire in his belly. I think he's the future. He's the future. I wouldn't move back. I know I've heard some people say about maybe playing Bowen as the 9 and putting Kudus in Bowen's position. I just think that, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Bowen's been playing so well this season. Why would you sort of like alter it? I really don't. I really wouldn't sort of like fuck around with that too much. I would just say leave him there. That's working. Don't fuck around with that. He can play as a sort of like as a striker role, false 9, whatever you want to call it, whatever role you want to deploy him at. No problem. I think that that's the way to go for me. I'd like to think that David Moyes is going to do something very similar to that. I did agonise about Naya Figuer at centre back. I think if I was picking it, I think it might well be Mavropanos for me. But I think that he will keep faith with Naya Figuer. But we'll see. We'll see when the team sheets are announced at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. We'll get a handle on it. But let's get on to the really important thing. And you guys that are in the live chat, please get involved in this one. Ben, tell me your score prediction.
I'm going to go 3-1 to West Ham. I'd say, but based on that record, unbeaten in a 1 loss in the last 10 games.
Well,
I don't know. I just feel 1 in 11. Sorry, I think I just feel confident, mate. I think we're playing well. I think we've got a good record against these guys. And like you say, we've got we're scoring goals. We could do with tightening up at the back, but I think a lot of teams are kind of having that problem because there's a lot of attacking talent in the league, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say Kudus starts. And I think he's going to get a hat trick on his first game.
Oh wow! I'm going a 3-1 away win. I'm going to sort of like slightly temper it though. I'm going to say Kudus is going to get the brace. I think he's going to get a brace. And I think that my last little fact, and as I say, they've been whizzing across the ticker at the bottom for people that have been paying attention. They've been whizzing across intermittently. And this is the last one. I think that the scorer of our other goal is going to be Jared Bowen because of that little fact there that he can become only the third player to score in each of his club's opening 5 away Premier League season matches, emulating Thierry Henry in 01-02 for Arsenal and Mohamed Salah in 21-22. For Liverpool. So he'd create a little bit of history by doing so. And there's, as it says there, there's only 2 other people that have done it. So he would be in very exalted company. I mean, 2 of the Premier League all-time greats in Henry and Salah.
Yeah.
And then Jared Bowen to join them. So I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham. I think we're going to hit them on the break. We're going to play counter-attacking football. We're going to need to soak it up. But I think we can do that with a great degree of certainty. Kudus on the break, Bowen on the break, the pace and ferocity that they're going to bring, the clinical nature of their finishing. As I say, I think he's going to be 2 to Kudus, 1 to Bowen, 3-1 West Ham.
Lovely jubbly, mate. I think, if we can do that, like say, Bowen's looked electric this season. He was unlucky not to get the winner against Newcastle. So I think he's one of them. Is because of his work rate and the way he plays, he is going to, there's going to be a good few occasions in the game for him to get a chance. And I hope he hits the back of the net. And I'd love it if we could nick a win, keep the unbeaten run going, and keep in touch with those teams above us. Because the longer we're in and around that sort of top 6, whatever you want to call it, top 8, the better, and the more confidence that breeds. So, yeah, I'm confident, and I'm looking forward to the game.
Fair enough. Joan's gone with a 2-1 win. She reckons it'll also be James Ward-Prowse from a free kick and Mohamed Kudus getting a goal as well. So let's just sort of like hope for whatever way we sort of like come about it. We come away from Villa Park with a 3-1 win or 2-1 win, 1-0 win. Who cares? 3 points in the bag would be good.
Exactly that. And to be honest, mate, I like Joan's prediction because if people haven't seen it, 2 of the best free kicks Ward-Prowse has ever done, I remember, was away against Villa in the same game. So I think he likes Villa Park, and if we get a free kick in and around the area, I think he's going to fucking rattle one in himself. So fuck it, I'm going to go 4-1. Kudus with a hat trick and Ward-Prowse with one. So yeah. 4-1, bring them on.
Gold fest.
Mate, we are the real fucking claret and booze. These Brummies are the imposters. Yeah, so we need to go and who's boss and fucking come back down the M1. Is it the M1? I don't know. I've never fucking driven now. But I have, but I've got the train. So, I don't know fucking what road leads up there. But come back down the M1, M6, M16, whatever it is, come back down the M6 with the 3 points and a big smile on our face. And and to be honest, I know I'm rambling now, but I'm hoping England winning the rugby tonight, West Ham winning the football tomorrow. All in all, that'd be a fantastic sporting weekend. And maybe I'd have to take Monday off because I'll be hungover.
Any final thoughts, Ben, before we knock it on the head?
No, that's it, mate. That's enough talking from me. And, we're looking forward to the game. Come on, West Ham.
Absolutely. And before we wrap it on the head there, guys, and thanks for joining us, please don't forget to like, comment on and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you hit the bell icon for alerts of new content. Don't forget to click all. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. Come on, you Irons. We'll go to Villa Park tomorrow in good form and hopefully bring back the 3 points. And also, don't forget to do the usual plug for the Iron Supporting Food Banks. We'll see you again next time. Take care. The West Ham Massive are pleased to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham fans and friends inspired by the work of other football food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for a Newham food bank in Beckton, who supplies sub-distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thanks for your support. Come on, you Irons.